Okay, so how do you sell a digital product without being too damn salesy? So many people, they always want to come to me and they always are like, yo, I'm making content, but I don't really feel like it's me. I don't really know, like, how to talk about things. I don't know what to do. And I always tell people, I don't think you understand the power of social media, but also the power in storytelling, right? And I know you guys kind of know about storytelling, but let's talk about social media really quick. Why do we all really run to TikTok, as the app? Some of you guys I know haven't technically ran over to TikTok, but why did everybody run over to TikTok in the beginning? Because it wasn't that fake Instagram, right? To where everybody had to have tons of followers. In fact, people on Instagram would fight just for followers, because once they got the followers, then they felt like, okay, cool, now I can make the sales, or now I can get out in front of people. So people would do some of the dumbest shit, me included, just to get followers, because we felt like we got to get these followers. So we got to be fake as hell. We got to do something like this to get these followers, right? And when TikTok came, it was like, nah. Well, first it was just dancing, but then it got to a point where it's just like, no, you can go over there and just make a real regular video, and it can go. And if you notice, look how it changed the game, to not only change the algorithms of all these other social media platforms to where it puts it back on the actual individual or the individual piece of content, and whether people are interested in it or not. But look at the raw filming too. More and more people now are coming across YouTube to where it's just more raw. Like me, like I started a 5-day YouTube challenge, and some people have been asking. They were like, "Yo, are you gonna, what do you use to edit?" And I'm like, "Hey, listen, you can go get Descript and some other things, some editing tools. Me personally, I don't really care. I don't care. I mean, I rather talk to you like this, and if I slip up, I slip up. If we're at a dinner table or something, like, what the hell? You're going to see me all sides, all kinds of ways anyway. So it's like, fuck. And I think sometimes, like, the flashiness, yes, it does keep us intrigued because the dopamine hits. But I think the flashiness it loses its purpose, or it loses its message, right? But that's why we were liking TikTok. Now, why am I bringing this up to help you sell your digital product? Because if you stop trying to just sell and start trying to just share and utilize your personality and your authenticity, you'll connect with people a little bit more. I want you to think of it like this. When I see a movie, right, and I call my friend up to tell about this movie that I really, really like, I'm not over here giving like no Google facts. Hey, yeah, check it out. I just saw this movie. It ran 1 hour and 13 minutes. It starred Denzel Washington. It got a 4-star on Rotten Tomatoes. And the brief description of this video. No, who fucking talks like that, right? We were like, yo, hey, you know that movie? Yeah, man, you need to go see that. Or, man, it was a tearjerker. Or, man, it was so much action. I literally had to go to the restroom, and I was about to piss in my pants, but I couldn't get up, bro, because it's like, you know what I mean? There was so much action coming at me, right? Or they had this badass car scene that was right? Whatever is you, when you share that on social media, people connect with that, right? Because nobody really likes to connect with vague ass people. You see what I'm saying? Like, let's put it like this. If I came out to you and I said, I like soda, I mean, unless you're a non-soda drinker, right? Like, maybe you're like, oh, I don't drink soda, I'm all water, right? You know what I mean? But unless you're a non-soda drinker, you're not going to really have an opinion about it, right? You're just going to be like, okay. And it's not going to do a single thing to you. But if I come out to you and I said, man, I love Diet Coke. Well, now we got a cool situation going on here. Someone's either going to say, oh my God, I can't stand Diet Coke. They're going to remember a story, and then they're going to talk about the drink that they love better. Or they're going to be like, Diet Coke tastes like this, right? Or they're going to say, oh my God, yeah, I love Diet Coke too. And they got an instant connection. The funny thing is even the first person kind of has a connection with you, and you don't think it. You think you separated them from you, but you actually found a connection with them. And you want to know why? Because maybe they now remember a story that had to do with Diet Coke, And then it maybe even made them laugh on the inside. And they were like, and now they just kind of like you for bringing that up and reminding them of that moment of their life, right? I know you think that's like, yeah, but Justin, they don't have a close connection, but they have something to remember you by. Who are you going to remember the most? The guy that made you remember a memory, or the guy that just said that he loves soda? I'm gonna forget about that. I'm gonna forget about the second dude in a matter of no time. But the first dude, I might hang on to him for a little while because I'll remember. I'll give you an example. There was a guy that came to my live and he thought he was being funny, right? Because he called me Johnny Sins. And I'm not telling you to go look up that name, but basically he's one of those actors, right? But he's bald, right? And because I'm bald, he was like, "Yo, Johnny Sins is in the kitchen," because I was doing a live in the kitchen, and I was like, "This guy, right?" It was funny. The joke was funny, right? But anyways, the funny thing is because I started laughing and then I kind of gave him hell back and forth about it. You know, that dude kept coming to my live, right? Because and the reason why is because he said it and I didn't go like bananas on him, right? And we were just cool. We were just giving each other hell and all that stuff. And since then, now he just comes to my lives periodically and checks in and just watches or whatever, right? Like, and I remember him and he remembers me, right? Like I remember, like, and the funny thing is this guy doesn't even have a face, like a picture on his account, or it's like just a different picture. It's not of him, but every time I see it, I know it's him, right? It's one of those things, right? Because I remember that because he gave me that pattern interruption. Okay. Now, how do you use this with social media? You really start showcasing your authenticity, your story, your personality. Now, let's go over to this, your story. Most people are not understanding how to share their experience. So, for instance, I'm a felon, right? Former felon, former gym manager too, right? That by the grace of God was able to make six figures reselling other people's digital products in 2023 to then creating my own and making even more money than that in 2024. So I know both sides of the spectrum, right? When I was first told about my ideal client, if you will, or not even my ideal client, like my target audience or my perfect customer, everybody said, well, this person is a reflection of you. I would agree. But they were kind of like, yeah, so go after gym managers and start talking to those people, or go after felons and start talking to those people. And I'm like, why? Most of these felons like don't even care. Like some felons are trying to change their life, and some they're not even open up to the possibility of trying to make money online, right? But number two, gym managers. See, it would be better than instead of trying to mold yourself into a gym manager, that you speak from the perspective of being a gym manager, right? So now check this out. Because here's the thing. When I was telling my story and just sharing my pains and what was going on with me, yeah, I attracted some gym managers, but then I attracted a lot of people that just had the same pain, right? And so think about all the people that would have not come to me if I didn't share that, right? So here's what I mean. They weren't really feeling the pain of being a gym manager, right? They were feeling the pain that I had of working 60 plus hours a week, still living paycheck to paycheck for like plaques on the wall, having to rely on my mom to watch my daughter because I was a single dad and I still couldn't even afford a babysitter because of the money, right? Well, guess what? Yes, that brought out some gym managers, but guess what it also did? It brought out other people saying, yo, I'm working 60 hours a week for plaques on the wall. Or it brought out other people, yeah, I'm living paycheck to paycheck and having to rely on my family. Or it brought out just the parents. Maybe they're not living paycheck to paycheck, but they're like, yeah, I barely get any time with my kids, right? Like I want, right? So by me just expressing the pains and speaking from the perception, right? My perception of being a gym manager, right? I naturally attracted gym managers and other people that feel the same way as me. So this is what you got to understand. It's a total, completely different ball game. And the cool thing about it is you don't have to be fake and you don't have to be salesy because you're not listing all your features of your product. You're listing what led you to your product. Why do you like your product more than any other product, and how is it so beneficial to you? How did this product come to be, right? Maybe you even start sharing testimonials. And when I say testimonials, other people's stories of people having stuff, because that's something else you got to understand, right? So many people, they're online always just saying, oh, look, so and so made this much. Boring, right? That's cool. But okay, what about, oh my God, did you hear about the girl that was 3 months behind on rent? And then she just simply just joined this business and da 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 da, and she followed the step by step process and da 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 da, and she was able to recruit. I mean, make $10,000 in 1 month and pay her rent and get her rent current after being behind for 3 months. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. People can get behind that, and if you think about how people talk naturally anyways, that's kind of like how people gossip anyways, right? So once again, you're being your authentic self. You're showcasing your personality. So one, you got to remember that your story is significant. But number two, you got to remember what social media really is. It's just a way to connect with people, connect with them, and then redirect. If you're not even connecting with them, they're not even going to listen to you anyways. Nobody gives a shit about your solution until you have their attention. So remember that. All right. You got to have their attention. And how do we get their attention? By connecting with them. So remember that. Tell your story and be authentically you. And surprisingly, you will sell a whole bunch of digital products.